Heidi ho, my peeps. It is a momentous day. Yesterday was also a momentous day. I'll start with yesterday. Yesterday was a sad day. Our cat, Mia, the one who has a Siamese look, she was about 15 years old, and she had been feeling poorly since last week, about Friday. And so I got her into the vet, and it turns out she had end-stage lymphoma, so we had to euthanize her. It was kind of funny because well, it's not funny, but it was a little odd because I didn't notice any real change in her behavior or anything else about her until last week. Now, I had noticed that her lymph nodes seemed kind of swollen, and she had a couple places on her neck where she had scratched. So I treated those, and I kind of watched her, and she was doing fine. And then this past week, she started to not eat, not want to do anything but sleep or sit in our laps. So I got her into the vet ASAP, and that was the result. So we are now down to just Otter as our inside cat, and little Mia, little Mallory, who's really not doing all that well either. She's having a good day today, but she can't see, so she'll get lost in the yard. Sometimes she's weak and she'll just kind of fall down the stairs. So I need to set up a different situation for her so she's not having to go up and down the porch steps. I don't think we'll have her till the end of the summer. I mean, I don't know, but you know, diabetes for a little over a year. So I guess that's what you expect. So I'm trying to prepare myself for that. So what was momentous about yesterday, in addition to all the sadness, was that I discovered it was the very first day that I could come out into my yard. And by yard, I mean not just inside my yard and pick weeds, but I've been outside using the weed eater and raking and burning stuff in the burn pile. Yesterday was the first day that I could do an entire day. I also didn't have any back pain. It was really something to ponder, because it's the first time in years that I feel like myself again. And what I mean by that is the me that I was at 50, getting out here and, being mistress of all I could survey. And, like I say all the time, when the parents start to go down and your focus shifts from your own life to, shepherding your mom and dad through the end of theirs, and the other stuff that's happened the past couple years, it goes a long way towards knocking you down physically. And if, like me, you're morbidly obese and you are a comfort eater, an emotional eater, and you're addicted to sugar, and you don't get any exercise, and you like to sleep in your recliner, keep your eyes closed, scroll so that you don't have to focus on your own problems. If you've already got that stuff in motion, then it makes, continuing your life really difficult. And you don't realize it until you look around and say, okay, I'm acting like I've only got another couple years left. Why is that? I'm in my early 60s. It shouldn't be that way. So that's what happened to me. And you guys know the story of, talking to my friend Rachel about food and going on Ozempic and losing 80 pounds. Now, today at 260 pounds, which I've weighed for the past month, incidentally, I feel as if I'm really ready to move to the next level of getting my health back in order. So I had an appointment and a consultation with a personal trainer at it's not a gym like Planet Fitness or any of that. It's I guess like a weight lifting and strength training studio. That's all they do, primarily with free weights. And they also have do spinning classes. So there's bikes up against the wall, big huge area in the middle where they do a lot of boot camp style classes, you know, where you run back and forth and you whip the ropes and you all of that whole boot camp stuff. I really like the trainer, who also happens to be the owner. He's got trainers that work for him, but he's the one I'm going to actually work with. Anyway, they have all different manner of clients, but they have a lot of clients who are elderly and trying to regain their balance, their strength, and all of that. There are people who are post-op who are having to work knees and hips and so forth. So I really like the vibe of the place. I also like the interior because there's not there was music once when I was there, and then it was silent the first time. But they don't have a lot of like bright posters and motivational stuff, lights, colors, all that. It's very womb-like, literally. The walls are all black. The ceiling is black. There's a wood floor and a big bank of windows that faces south. So you get a lot of natural light coming in, but it's a very calming space, a calm interior, with not a lot of distraction. And I work really well under that kind of an environment. So I had planned to start working out with this guy about the middle of May. I'm going to commit myself to 3 months, 3 times a week. That's going to be my workout schedule. And we're going to first work on core strength and then move to upper body. My legs need to be maintained as well, but it's my core and my upper body, my back muscles and stuff that I really need to be strengthened and, strengthened. So with the death of Mia, that set me back a little bit because I'd put all the money aside for these 3 months. That's why I committed to it, because I'd earmarked it for this. But I'm had that extra expense. I may have a couple more, so I'm going to have to kick that back to probably the middle of June, which really had me bugged. However, I am out here doing this work, and I'll be doing this work daily until the last day of April, because that's the last day of burn season. And then I will transition to a new type of work. I'm going to build a she shed and a greenhouse. They might be together, like the greenhouse coming off the she shed, or they might be separate buildings. I'm not quite sure yet. But right now I'm working on my upper garden to get it weed-eated down to the ground, raked, clean, so that I can do some planning about where I want to put, well, I know I want the she shed up in the upper garden. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to handle the greenhouse. I've actually been thinking about having it come off the end of my trailer here. So, we'll see what happens. But I wanted to give you a little look-see at the way things are in my yard now. And there's my little Mallory, such a happy girl. Just she listens to my voice. That's how she figures out where I am. I've been hand weeding the little weeds up against the fence. It's hard to get those effectively with a weed eater. You can, but it's not real effective and it looks kind of messy. So now my upper garden, all of that, you see that it's the weeds are beginning to dry and the grasses are beginning to dry. We've hit that with a weed eater several times now, and we continue to rake and get it down low so it's down ground level. I'm thinking about putting my she shed Let's see here, let's go. Okay, so center screen, you see a blue bathtub leaning up against a rock. Well, somewhere in that vicinity, forward from there is where I think I want to put it. So that's been fun. Let's see. You can see the smoke coming from our burn pile. We've been burning daily, and you know, whenever it's an appropriate day, when they say we can. I've got some piles started for the dump. You will see center screen, there's a little pile of stuff leaning up against the fence outside of my gate. I've started that pile. Yeah, so Grant and I are out daily. There he goes in the golf cart, heading for the burn pile. Getting this stuff done. So I'm gonna flip this back around. Woo! All right, so we have a 30% chance of rain today. I took off my hat and scarf because it's the cloud cover. I'm gonna show you the cloud cover. So pretty, the cloud cover. I just love it when the clouds blow overhead. And so this little storm's going to come through today. Then we will have cooler, dry weather for a few days. And then there is another storm forming off the Pacific that may come floating in late next week. We're not quite sure yet. It hasn't really developed. So I just, you know, I keep my eye on the weather, and I get out here every day that is relatively cool. And there goes Stella barking at something. Because when it finally gets real hot, it's just going to be too much. I'm gonna be so glad I did what I did when the hot weather gets here. And when the hot weather gets here, that's when all the other indigenous weeds and vegetation are going to dry up, and we can get out there and do one pass with a weed eater. You don't have to do it more than once if you're dealing with dry grass. But we've been trying to knock down the green stuff in certain areas around the yard, and that's been tough. So, gosh, things continue to look up. They continue to move forward, continue to have life challenges, because that's the way life is. And that is my little spiel for the day. I have lots of other things I want to talk to you guys about. I want to talk to you about some stories that I'm writing. Soon I will be able to talk to you about a book that a dear friend wrote that I am going to read and review, and I'm just thrilled about that. And I want to talk about my imperative urge to gather herbs and dry them again. I mean, you know, the plants that grow around here, like the red clover, the cow vetch, lupin, stinging nettle, which my front yard is now full of. I've got a bunch of it about this high that's growing everywhere. And I'm not going to kill that. Well, I'm going to kill it and then I'm going to pull it up, but I'm going to dry that. My inner green witch is really calling to me right now. And I'm thinking again about doing the energy readings with my cards that I've done before. I don't read tarot, and I don't do divination or any of that stuff. But what I do, not that I'm dissing that stuff, but it's just not part of my thing that I feel drawn to, is what I'm trying to say. I feel drawn to sitting down with people, doing an array of cards, and talking to them. And as we talk, they will often open up about what's going on in their lives. And the cards are a tool to give us something to talk through. And I have never done a reading for anyone that they said, hey, you know what? I don't know where you got those ideas, but none of that describes me. And I think the reason is simply that most of us deal with the same kinds of stuff in the same periods of time. So it is a way for me to counsel, help, be a sounding board maybe. And so I want to start doing that, again, only more broadly. Offer appointments at the store, which I need to go and clean up and get ready for this. And, you know, kind of cast my net out there to see if that's a service that anyone is interested in. So, I mean, face-to-face interested. I've done it online a lot, but doing it face-to-face, being in the physical environment of the person, there's this quality to that that's hard to replicate when you're online. So anyhow, that's been going on. Let's see, I'm changing hands because my hand's getting tired. What else? Oh, the baby's doing well. He's such a tiny little peanut. I think he doesn't quite weigh 7 pounds yet, and he will be 2 months old on the 5th of May. But he was a tiny little baby, you know. Well, he wasn't miniature or anything. I don't mean miniature. He wasn't premature. But he was, you know, a little over 6 pounds, lost down into the 5-pound range, then regained that and some. And I think he's right on his regain schedule. But after giving birth to my, you know, toddlers, both my kids were big. They were both nearly 9 pounds. It just feels different to hold such a tiny baby. Okay. Grant's mending our fence. That's what that noise was. So yeah, baby's great. And that's kind of the Cliff Notes. And I will come back and talk to you guys again soon. Bye.